Joining us now, Madison Downs, Republican, they say, candidate for Congress in the 3rd District, the chance to lose to Bobby Scott. Say that tongue-in-cheek. But, Madison, great to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me, bud.
Madison, let's cut to the chase. My PAC endorsed you, and I have come under intense criticism from about everybody that's come out of the woodwork, and they're calling you a never-Trumper. They say you're a closet Democrat. You know, I believe in people changing their mind, but forget what I think. Do you support President Trump, yes or no?
100% yes.
Why?
Well, when you look at the policies that he's put forth, take, for example, the First Step Act, I don't think it went far enough, but it was a first step. It was more than any other president has done. He has supported HBCUs. His policies are impacting the minority communities in a positive way. You know, all these things I had to take a deep dive and look at and see the positive impact that it was having in communities like mine. You know, I work in the inner city, in some of the worst and most impoverished areas. I see how Democrat policies have destroyed our neighborhoods. And, you know, it's insanity to continue on in the same way that I was going. So, you know, in order to not only impact and help to impact our communities in a positive way and keep it going, but also in order to help to bridge the gap between our communities, I decided to step out and stick my neck out on the line and make a difference.
You have posted a lot of social media things that were anti-Trump on both Facebook and Twitter. Very recently, you've been very negative on him. So some people are saying all of a sudden you just decided to be pro-Trump when you decided to run for Congress, but it's not really an authentic view. So because these posts, which were very viciously, some of them anti-Trump, have been recent, how do you reconcile that now?
Well, you mean recent, going back a year or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, the issue is like, you know, a person's perspective is their reality, but their reality is not mine. You know, for example, you know, one of the things that I was upset at the president about was his comments on Charlottesville, just using that as an example. You know, and, you know, it made me feel a certain kind of way, not just me, but a lot of my friends and family members. And, you know, I compared him to, you know, maybe a white nationalist or whatever, you know. And the issue was that he said that there were good people on both sides. Now, back in the day, meaning back when he made those comments, I didn't understand exactly what that meant. But I'll share an example of something that happened with me. There's a soldier that basically called, and he basically had a gun in his mouth, was going to blow his brains out. And I was able to counsel him and save his life, and as a result, he's able to hug on his son, and he has his family back. He's doing well. So when I became under attack by a lot of people who didn't have an understanding of who I am and what my perspective is, he became a fierce advocate of mine, you know, defending me and so on and so forth. So what happened was people began to say to me, you know, will you denounce him? Will you denounce him? You know, no, I won't denounce him. And one of the things about that is it was moments like that that made me realize that, you know, the president was right. There are good people on both sides, but you have to go through things in order to learn and in order to mature and to be able to put things in their proper perspective. So, you know, if I wanted to be a person that was scrupulous in agenda or things like that, I could have scrubbed everything, but I didn't. You know, I don't believe that that's being genuine to the people. And, you know, why would I hide anything? I want people to know, you know, who I am, where I came from. And, you know, that's something that was a part of, that was how I felt at the time. And, you know, I have a different perspective now.
So, Madison, is it fair to say that you were not a Trump supporter, but now you are? I mean, is that fair? I mean, people do have the right to change their mind. Is that a fair assessment now for me to make?
Yeah, I would say so. And I'd say that I am a fierce advocate of Trump and his policies. I think the president is doing a great job. I've even adopted a lot of his language, and I've come under fire from members of my own community as a result of doing so. So, people don't realize how difficult it is to be a black Republican, because you get attacked from, people who don't understand your perspective, meaning, people on the right. You get attacked from members within your own community. Now, insofar as my family members go and all that, they're 100% behind me. I'm talking about my parents, wife, cousins, those who are close. But community members, this is where we have to actually be able to espouse our conservative values and ideals in a way that we've been missing as a party in the past. And what I mean by that is a lot of black families are extremely conservative, but the message has not resonated because of the way in which Republicans have been communicating those messages. It's more of a talking at, and a lot of people in the black community feel as though the message comes across condescending. Mm-hmm. So one of the great things that I'm able to do, and why Bobby is in such, he hasn't even, I can't remember ever a time that he's really started campaigning this early. Mm-hmm. And we're starting to see that because, he knows that this is going to be a fight of his political life. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because I'm able to espouse the conservative values in a way that resonates with mm-hmm. everyone, no matter where they are, no matter what their walk of life is, no matter what their station life is. And when they are able to hear the message in a way that, makes sense to them, where they can actually, where it's tangible, mm-hmm. the kitchen table talk, they begin to say, oh, you know what, you're right. For example, that soldier, I'll go back to him again. He was definitely a never Trumper. The other day he asked me, hey, Madison, where can I get a Trump hat? So, these things are happening, and what we're trying to do is we want to grow the party, but, when you're changing hearts and minds and mindsets that have been entrenched in a community for decades.
Yeah, it's not easy to do.
You've got to take baby steps. You know what I mean? And you can't expect for someone to come in with a hard right stance and, expect for people to say, oh, well, you know what? He's right. No, they've got the defenses up. They've got the defenses up, and they're going to argue with you. Here's another example. I remember I was out on the trail walking the beat, I guess, the streets,
right,
over on the East End, Newport News. I walked into this barbershop.
Yep.
And the guy, he had my sign up in the window. He was proud, and he said, "Wait a minute, I thought that you were a Democrat." I noticed that he took the sign down like a couple weeks later. And I walked in. I said, "Man, what's going on?" He said, "Man, I thought you were a Democrat." I said, "I never told you I was a Democrat." He said, "No, but I just assumed that you were a Democrat, being black and everything." And, I said, "No, man, those days are over with. We got to move forward. This is, those policies are the reason why when you look out the window, all we see is gentrification, opportunities that have been taken, stolen from us."
Did he ever put your sign back up?
Oh, let me tell you. Yeah, he did. But we argued. I mean, very, very passionate argument, and it was a good fight. But at the end of that, he was like, "You know what? You're right." And he put my sign back up, and then we've got other business owners that put that sign up as a result of his word going out. And he said, you need to listen to Madison. He's telling us the truth. So
you're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, Trucking the Truth Across America. We're with Madison Downs, Republican candidate for Congress. That'll be decided in a June primary. That's an open primary, June 23rd in the 3rd District to take on Bobby Scott. A lot of my Tea Party associates have been blasting you. They say you're a closet Democrat. They point to the fact that you've never voted in a Republican primary. You've only voted in Democratic primaries as far back as the eye can see. So they're like, this guy's not even a Republican. This guy votes in all the Democratic primaries. And they say now he's an opportunist and he's a, as they say, Trojan horse. How do you respond to that, Madison?
Well, for one, I used to go around and give lessons on Constitution to Tea Party groups. So, Those people that are saying that, they obviously never sat down and had a conversation with me. Number two, I can't be bought. I'm extremely happy in my station in life. What I mean by that is with me and my family. We're good. I'm not in this to make money. I'm not in this to gain a position. I was asked to run by members of our community because they needed help, and they know that what my history is insofar as helping folks. Insofar as being this closet Democrat, or a Trojan horse or a plant, I think that the argument is completely illogical. Think about it. It's in a district where there's a plus 25 for Bobby to win. To run a candidate like me who can beat Bobby, and he knows it, doesn't make any sense. He could have just passed the reins.
All right. So the bottom line is you were a Democrat. Obviously, you voted in every Democratic primary ever. You never voted in a Republican primary. So let's just say you were a Democrat. Now you're Republican. You were a never Trumper. You didn't like Trump. Now you do. And let me just ask my listeners out there, isn't that what we want? Aren't we looking for people that that were Democrats and now are pro-Trump, that didn't like Trump and blasted him and now are voting for him? Isn't that what the objective of this is? Isn't that how you win the election? Isn't that how you turn Virginia? Is that not what we're trying to do? So we got this guy, Madison Downs. He was a Democrat, no question. He said a lot of nasty things about Trump, no question. It's all there. He didn't scrub it. It is what it is, all for the world to see. And now he's saying, hey, based on changing environment, what I've seen, I'm now pro-Trump. I'm for his re-election. I'm now a Republican. I'm done with this, and I'm moving forward in a different direction. Isn't that what we're all after? I mean, let me just ask my listeners that. You say, well, why did Fredericks back the guy? Well, that's why. Because we're looking for change, right? If we just go after the same people doing the same things, you end up in the same place. And look, Madison, maybe you'll get to Congress and you'll vote the other way. I don't know. Maybe that would happen. But let me just say, what's the difference? You don't have anything to lose, as the president says.
Well, here's the thing. I've stuck my neck out. You know what I mean? I've not hidden anything. Even with my Twitter account, it was my original Twitter account. I could have scrubbed everything. When I decided to run, I just switched the name over to Madison Downs for Congress. And, that's a testament to the strength of Donald Trump's argument, the fact that, he's able to sway a strong mind like mine. And that, there was a recent article written by the Blue Camel, actually Blue Buffalo, but Blue Elephant. But, I'm glad that they did it, because what it does is it just put everything out there. I've been saying these things everywhere I've been. It's not like I've been hiding anything, but what it does is it makes me more relatable to the majority of constituents in the third. And what people need to realize is that, it's not necessarily a black and white thing, because the conservative message in that area has not resonated with white folk, the majority of white folk either. You know what I mean? It's the way in which we've been getting the message out there. We have conservative white folk who basically have been turned off.
The bottom line is, it seems to me, and why we endorsed you, is that you changed, right?
Oh, yeah.
You were a Democrat, now you're a Republican. You voted for Clinton, now you're going to vote for Trump. The reasons you have are your reasons. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what your past is. I care what your future is. That's why we've endorsed your candidacy. Now, Black Caucus sent a letter, Madison Downs. I'm still trying to grasp this letter. I got Lamont Bagby will be on in about 7 minutes. He's the legislative leader of the Legislative Black Caucus in Virginia. But they sent this letter to Northam, which really, I'm still trying to, find the right word here, grasp it, okay?
Right.
And so I'm going to give you a segment of the letter, and I want to get your reaction as an African American. He says, by the way, this was signed by all 22 members of the Virginia House of Delegates Legislative Black Caucus. Under the current plan and with the already existent racial disparities that this pandemic and economic crisis are perpetuating, we will be creating a situation where black and brown Virginians outside of Northern Virginia will become guinea pigs for our economy. We've already seen this take place in Georgia. They go on to say, throughout our country's history, black and brown people have been experimented on and used as unwilling test subjects before. We cannot allow that to be repeated here. What they're referring to is the eugenics of the 1920s, Tuskegee, I guess genocide. What was your reaction to this, Madison?
Well, I think it speaks to the psychology of of a lot of black folk in America. There's a huge distrust in government. There's a huge distrust in our party, the Republican Party. While I understand that, I've been disappointed in the Congressional Black Caucus and the fact that they remain rooted in a party that basically has held us back for half a millennia. I think that they need to take a deep dive, take a look at the policies that are actually helping us out in our communities. I think they need to take a look at some of their own decisions that they've made and understand that the decisions that they are making are hurting us. They're not helping us. And so far as what's going on with the pandemic, there's a lot of fear out there, and I understand that. But when you take a look at what's going on, when we take a look at the unconstitutional codes and statutes that this governor has instituted, when we take a look at how these codes and statutes have been instituted under the cloak of fear, when we take a look at how they've been instituted when we only have a partial government working, where we only have the executive and legislative branch going, there's no checks and balances. All of these edicts, all of these things need to be rescinded immediately. They also need to take a look at the fact that they are bound by oath in order to support our Constitution. So there's a deeper issue insofar as the decisions that they are making if they choose to speak for people. And, one of the things that I am going to push for is that if you are a legislator and you vote or sponsor a bill that directly conflicts with any U.S. or state constitution, then you need to be tried for treason. So when you come out and you're saying, okay, we need to remain shut down, are you thinking about the person that needs to put food on their table?
No, they're not.
Are you thinking about the small business owner who slaved and worked their entire life, and they've got everything tied into that business?
Well, the barbershop that you went to, the guy that put your sign up and then took it down.
Well, I have a business there. A lot of people don't realize that. Right around the corner, right off Wickham. So it's hurting us. So these are the things that matter. And we cannot be bound by fear. It's time to, we need to open Virginia back up. People are wise enough. They know how to. We know how to take care of ourselves. We do not need a babysitter. And if anyone chooses to be a legislator or they choose to be a voice for all people, know what the people actually want, before you decide to speak for us. I think that they're wrong. I understand the argument that they are espousing, but I think they're wrong. I think they've been wrong for decades, and it's time for us all to move forward together. To isolate it, make it an isolated incident and just pick out, black folk. Well, it's not just black folk. It's black, white, Asian, Hispanic.
Right.
There are Americans who need to get back to work. So while I understand,
I got to roll, Madison.
Yeah.
I'm out of time. I want to thank Madison Downs for being with us. You can get more information. Go to MadisonForHamptonRoads.com. I've personally endorsed Madison in the Republican primary. So has my PAC, Make Virginia Great Again. Madison was a Democrat. Now he's a Republican. Madison was a never Trumper, voted for Clinton. Now he's voting for Trump. That's good enough for me, folks. I don't look at the past. I look forward. John Fredericks Radio Network.